She's in third gear, she's going 70 miles an hour. Speed limit's 60, okay? She said, let's see what this baby can do. She hits third, she's going about 90, close to 100. She said, holy smokes, this thing really just right up in the rearview mirror, the blinking blue lights. She goes, oh no. And she's, 90, 100 miles an hour, they'll just throw me in. So she hits it. TWU grad, okay, probably from Dr. Trusley. She hits it, she's going 140 miles an hour. I said, this is crazy. She pulls over to the side and she said, I can't outrun the law. They'll have barricades set up and, she could see all this. At the Oklahoma state line, she pulls over and she just, okay, I'll just take my punishment. The highway patrolman, he's 6'3", not that I've ever been stopped. They're all 6'3", he's got on the hat, he walks up. And she had a convertible, by the way, she had the top down. He walks up, he said, young lady, I don't think I've ever chased somebody going 140 miles an hour, but it's the end of the shift. You got a brand new car. If you can give me a good reason why you're going 140 miles an hour, I'll just let you go. She thinks for a minute and she said, my no good husband ran off with a lady highway patrolman 2 years ago, and I thought you were bringing him back. We're not going to go 140 miles an hour, but we're going to go through a lot of information quickly. All right? So if you'll take some of the handouts, and I'm kind of glad we did the old school today since we were having a little bit of equipment difficulty up there and I wouldn't have used it anyway. But I want to go through some things before LinkedIn, but this young lady is going to time me at 10 after. We'll get to LinkedIn and any questions. If you have any questions during this voyage, then raise your hand, let's have an interaction. But I want to talk to you about some of the basics of your job search, finding a job. I've been out of work, been an executive, hired a lot of people. When I was with Health Roofing, I was responsible for hiring all the people in our corporate office, plus all of the salespeople. Now I'm an executive recruiter, and we place director level all the way to CEOs, and so I'm out on the other side of the table. And as Derek mentioned, I also teach outplacement for right management. And right now is not a good time, I don't have to tell you all, to be looking for a job. There are 14.2 million people unemployed. There's another 6 million that would like to be better employed. They're staying where they are only because they've got a job, so forth. I'm not going to tell you all the bad news, but there's a lot of folks out there. And then you all are going to be college grads here soon, hopefully. Depends on how well you do today, by the way. This class counts triple. You're going to be recent college grads, you're going to be thrown into that job search soon. So there are ways that you've got to make yourself stand out. And I guess the theme for today is professionalism. A lot of you are concerned about LinkedIn and social media, and my advice, and we'll get to it later, is stay off of Facebook, stay off of it. Don't do Twitter, do LinkedIn, stick with some basic job boards and do it professional. Because recruiters and HR, so when I say we, I'm talking about people that make that initial determination of whether or not they take your piece of paper and send it to the next desk. Okay? Are looking for reasons to kick you out, not keep you in. For every job post in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, there are 97 people that are qualified, at least according to the specs. Now, they may not be able to explain all the gaps, and they may not be a good interviewer, but on paper, they're qualified. There were 500 people that sent a resume in for that job. And I'm talking about, decent jobs. So consequently, how do you, as one of 97, have a college degree, it's in design and business or whatever, how do you differentiate yourself? So we're going to talk about some basics. Now, on this piece of paper, these pieces of paper are enough. It takes us about 8 weeks to cover this every Friday in 2 hours. So we're going to go 140 miles an hour. But I want you to have some basics, and you have the information here, but more importantly, Amber, what is the web page that we've developed just for this group? This is a test for Amber. partners/TWU.HTM. Let me give that to you again, www.tnspartners.com/TWU.HTM. That'll take you directly to a page that we've set up at my company, and I'm going to leave it up for about a month, where everything we talk about today and about 20 more documents, additional information, is free of charge to you all. Actually, it's free of charge to anybody, but I wanted to sound special. Yeah. And then I'll transfer it and make it applicable to all college graduates, because I know our church group will be inundated. So let's get into it. Okay. You know, one of the things is you've got to get your head in the game. And by that I mean you got to have the right attitude. And by that I mean, one of the biggest things I've seen in our church group, and also with right management when I counsel executives on how to handle outplacement and looking for a job, is they have unrealistic expectations. And you're say, gosh, I worked my way through college. I crammed 4 years into 7. Okay, that's what it took me at TCU, because I worked my way through school. It took 6. So I understand that. And you feel like maybe somebody owes me something? Got news for you, they don't. So get your head in the game. Everybody I talk to at our church group, we need to screw their head on at least 15, maybe 30 degrees. Just realize it's going to be a tough challenge. You made the first step, you're getting your degree. The next step is now we got to find a job. Right? So have realistic expectations. You're not going to go in when they ask you that question, where do you expect to be in 5 years? By the way, that's the 5th most asked question in an interview. Where are you going to be in 5 years? Oh, I want your job. Where I'm going to be the CEO. I'm serious. I hear that all the time. What happens? When they leave, I shred their resume. Okay? Or mentally do that when I talk to them over the phone. So, have reasonable expectations. Determine where you want to live. Okay? And maybe the answer is you have a better job possibility if it's I'll relocate. It doesn't make any difference as long as it's in North America. All right? A lot of you probably want to stay in the Metroplex. How many do? Okay. How many would relocate? And I don't mean going to Hearst, Bedford, Euless. Okay, I'm talking about would actually relocate. That's more than the national average. 90% of executives that I interface with will not relocate. I mean, for all the right reasons. Family, church, neighborhood, friends, upside down on their house, whatever. If you will relocate, make sure that's up on the 1/3 quadrant of your resume. Because automatically you just beat out 90% of the people. Okay? But determine that beforehand. Okay? Because when you do your research and think and look at jobs, think about, okay, wait a minute, they're headquartered in Las Colinas, but okay, most of their sales jobs are in Washington, D.C. So I'm a trainee, so use some logic there. All right? Determine where you're going to go. Think about the industries you're going to do. Google's a great thing, and it particularly is with industries. You have access through a parent or a friend to Hoover's, which is a business search engine we use. It costs $30 a month, but a lot of libraries offer it. The school here probably offers it through their career services department. Hoover's is a great place to research companies, particularly if they're public. But determine the industries you want to go in. How many of you are here in that business, and I'm saying that the wrong way, the design part of the business school? How many of you are in that? Meaning, well, you want to be a graphic designer, interior designer, and yet you're enrolled in business school? Or there's some people here. I'm sorry? Fashion. I'm sorry. How many are here for that? All right. Where are the fashion headquarters around the world? Dallas? Where? New York? Okay. Okay. Hear that? At least 5 or 6 locations. One was Dallas. So you got a chance, but you'll have more of a chance. Do your homework. If you're, for all the right reasons, you're from Tarrant County and that's where you want to buy your burial plot, and I might look at companies that are headquartered in Tarrant County. But does that make sense? You'd be surprised how much, how logical that is by how many people have thought. Okay. What kind of position are you really looking for? And where do you want to go? And let me use a differentiator about, I told you it'd be all over the place. I told her to put WD-40 on the camera head because I'm going to be everywhere. All right. How many of you are in sales and marketing? All right, those are 2 different disciplines, right? Kind of decide, do I want to lean towards sales or lean toward marketing? Ultimately, you'd like to be the executive vice president of both, right? Or maybe that's not the case. Maybe you want to go up the marketing path. Think about some of those things. All right? Some other issues or requirements. Maybe it's special needs. Maybe you have a child with special needs. and you need special schooling close by. I mean, all of those things that may be personal and particular to you, think about those things. Maybe you want to continue your education and get your MBA, and it's kind of tough to do that in Podunk, Texas, okay, if that's important to you. So think about those things, because what you want to do is try to narrow your scope that fits some of your own personal criteria, and then use homework the heck out of that and mine that data. Okay? Let's talk about job boards quickly. We'll talk about LinkedIn plenty at the end of it. Would recommend you be on no more than 3 job boards. Here's what I run into. In this group, 50% of you will find a job through networking. In a traditional group, meaning people that have been employed after college, 75% plus of the people will find a job through networking. You all will find 50% of you will find a job through networking. I met Mr. Wood at the class, and he knew somebody at JCPenney's, and he put me in touch with them. And you were on your own, but that's how you got the introduction. That's networking. LinkedIn is networking. Okay? Using all of the facilities here at TWU could be a networking source and tool. But conversely, 50% of you will find a job through job boards. So how much time, this is a math quiz, how much time should you spend on job boards? Come on, class. 50%, no more. What happens is people spend 90% on job boards, and yet you only got a 50% chance of getting a job. See where I'm headed? And the reason a lot of people do that, whether they're college graduates or, believe it or not, CEOs, is because they hide behind the dadgum computer. You gotta get out and meet people. Where's Summer? Is she in class today? She had. Summer, what did you do this last week with a big shot at JCPenney?
I was at a career fair in Dallas, and I was at a career fair in Dallas, and I met the guy that's head of HR at JCPenney, and I'm looking for a fashion design job. And when I asked him, he was rushing out the door, he said, "Send me your request on LinkedIn." And I said, "Well, what the heck is LinkedIn?" And I'd been hearing that term all day long, and I had no idea what it was.
But didn't you ask him something before that?
I asked, well, I wanted to know, like,
You
about
said, "Hey, I'd like to go to work
Yeah.
there. Would you get me a job there?" Now that's a little bit strong, but that's networking. Okay. Summer, don't worry, that's my side. Okay. I like to roll in hand grenades. If somebody survives, I'll talk to them. I mean, that's my style, but that's networking. And he's gonna, and LinkedIn is part of networking. So you ought to spend 50% of your time networking and 50% of your time on job boards. Does that make sense? If there's any takeaway today, that's it. Because all of us can get hung up behind the computer and say, "Boy, look what I've done today." Quick story. 8 doors down is my younger, if you follow this, my younger son's mother-in-law. Okay? His father-in-law's second wife, whatever that is, okay? Karen's a neat lady, lives 8 doors down. And she was outplaced because of the economy. She had a great job as an executive assistant in the commercial real estate arena, which collapsed right after the banks, okay? And she had a very high paying job. She'd been out of work about 6 months before I thought I would bring it up in the conversation. She was walking her dogs, I had Snickers out, okay? It was after 5, so I had a beer, okay? Just one, Dr. Drews, just one, okay? And I said, "Karen, how's the search going?" She said, "Man, great." I said, "Really? What have you done?" Now, I don't think she knew all the stuff I did, but, and you know, it's family, so you have to kind of be careful. I said, "What have you done?" She said, "I made a commitment last weekend that I'm going to post my resume or answer postings 15 a day for 2 weeks." And this is kind of 1 week into it. But think about it. I'm not a math major. 15 a day times 5. Is that 75? Okay, sometimes she did more than that. So 75 times 2 is 150. So let's say she answered 200 postings in 2 weeks. And she's very good. Okay, she's quick, typewriter. And the next week, she called me. She said, "Tom, we may have to bleep some of this." Okay. She said, "Tom, do you have any extra wine down there?" So what's the matter, Karen? I mean, that was her way of saying, "Hey, I'm having a bad day." She said, "You know, why don't you come on down? I'd like to talk to you." So I went down there and I said, "What happened, Karen?" She said, "Remember I was telling you about post all the job postings?" She said, "I did almost 200. So I asked the magic question. I said, "How many responses did you have?" This is a lady with a college degree that's an outstanding executive assistant that also presents herself very well. What's wrong with this picture? She was spending her time in the wrong place. So I talked to her about networking, contact all your old friends, and pull out their Christmas card list from 10 years ago and all of those things. She contacted 2 days later a lady in Austin that she used to work with. That lady said, I'm glad you called. My boss just got promoted. He's moving to Dallas. Commercial real estate needs an executive assistant. She had the job in 3 more days. Okay? Man, it doesn't always happen that fast. But there's an example of balancing where you go. So think about that. All right? Business card. How many of you got business cards of mine coming in? Okay? Business cards are one of the great differentiators, particularly if you're a female. All right? These cost me $9.52. And I had them made just for this class. And here's where you go and write it down. It's called VistaPrint. Anybody heard of VistaPrint? You go to vistaprint.com. This is their standard format. It's non-glossy. They had a special on, so the cards were free. And they dinged me on the shipping, which was $9.52. By the way, on the shipping, the cheapest one because they all get there in 4 days. Okay, that's how they make their money. And that's fine with me. The only difference is I paid $15 for the freight. I got a nice looking business card. Okay, good quality stock. And what I want you to look at and make sure you get one of mine before you leave is it'll help you remember TNS Partners and then / etc. But also it's a good format. Because on your business card, number one, it'll be a differentiator. And ladies, let's don't have pink flamingos. Okay, let's don't have light blue, falling water and all that stuff. Stick with professional. That will differentiate you from other college graduates. First of all, you got a card, particularly as a female. Secondly, it's professional and not pink and whatever. All right? And I mean, you can get them at Staples or any place you want to. I recommend my church group go to this print because it's the cheapest and best for the money. So if you didn't get one of mine, get one. Because on my card, and there's a change I'd recommend for you ladies, it has my address. You ladies don't put that. You put Denton, Texas zip code, Dallas, Texas, Fort Worth zip code. Nobody needs to have your address until it's time for the application or whatever. And you're going to be handing these out everywhere except the bus station. Okay? You're going to have these everywhere. I just laid 150 out there. But ask me if I've got a business card. Okay? There's another 10 in here. All right? There's another 5 in the wallet. There's 1 in the money clip, just in case you ask. Okay? You're going to have these all the time, everywhere. And you ladies have an advantage is you have a little purse. Okay? I said I'd have them everywhere, and this little thing that I carry is fairly expensive. And this is my 3rd one because the other 2 I went to the swimming pool. I got into that. I'll have it with me everywhere. And I have, those little cargo kind of shorts. And, it doesn't work well that way. But you all can keep these with you all the time. What's good about this, and you use 3x5 cards in your purse. Okay, I'm not carrying around a portfolio all the time. You just aren't. You ought to, but Dr. Cruz has one, but he's in class and so forth. You may run into somebody in the hallway. If you do, you don't have to have them imprinted. Okay, but you can have 3x5 cards, and you're going to have a pen, and you got your business cards. You can network. You can do business right now. Okay, business. It's a big business. Right? But I'm serious about this. We talk to our church group all the time about it, and we do a little one-on-one frick and frack with our members. That's part of our ministry. And when they come in the door, the first thing I do is hand them a business card, and I expect one in return. So get a business card, because that's the protocol. Now, what happens if I give you a business card? I know we're going to run out of time. If I give you a business card, what do you do? What are you supposed to do? Yeah. Okay, you'd be surprised. You did it right. Most people go, yeah, thanks. Okay. You look at the business card and go, oh, talent, selection, and training. Or maybe, golly, thank you. But spend a second looking at my 2 seconds looking at my business card. I'm not kidding. You watch people. Just make it kind of a little game. 90% of them will go, yeah, thank you. Or sometimes they just turn it over and don't even. How does that make me feel? But that'll separate you. That'll make you professional. The business card's going to sit you head and shoulders. Those minor things will make a difference for you. Electronic signature. What do I mean by that? You know what I mean by that on your, all right? And get rid of the cutesy flowers and stuff. That's your college stuff. Get you an email address that's professional. Last week, Macho Mano 8781. I can make up a lot of stuff, okay? That was the guy's email address. And I'm interviewing him for Senior Vice President of Sales for a company that sells nonprofit to nonprofits, so you know they got to have the right culture. And it pays $200,000 a year base. The only reason I called him back is because he had one of the cheesiest email addresses I'd ever seen for a man. So I called him up and I said, "Is this Mr. Mono?" "I'm sorry, Mr. Smith." He said, "Are you making fun of my email address?" I said, "In fact, I am." I said, "Well, while we're arguing about it, tell me where it came from." And you can see the guy. First of all, I know he was 5'6". He had to be. I could see him puff up and go, "That was my high school football jersey number." Okay? So it gets you a professional Gmail address, or a Yahoo, or a Hotmail address. Yes, ma'am.
Wait, he set himself up and you called him?
Well, but you know what I did to his resume? Also put in our database. This, golly, what steady your station? Except it's going to go on satellite, all right?
Live.
All right. You know, I literally went into my database, and we have over 30,000 people in our database, and wrote, "Do not ever contact this I think I called him a yo-yo." Okay? So I got him covered for 30,000 contacts. All right? Now, you know, somebody else from our firm might call him, they go look in our database and go, "Oh, one thing yo-yo, he really is a yo-yo." Meaning that I'm on the edge of being a little bit different. So it's amazing. I can tell you some of the ladies' email addresses, but we are going live. I will tell you one. hotpants@hotmail.com. I'm making it up. So it gets you a professional email address. Okay? Even if your name is taken on Gmail or whatever, do 123 or something like that. You know, don't do a number that's your birth date. Okay. Right now it's not a problem. You just graduated college, we know you're under 30. Okay. So probably, so just don't worry. But in the future, don't put, and I think they teach that at A&M. I'm serious, this is not an A&M joke. But most of the people, engineers that I get from A&M will be Tom Wood 1967. They were either born in 67 or graduated in 67. Don't put that stuff in. Okay? It's minor, but I'm looking for reasons to kick you out, not keep you in. Isn't that what we said? That could be the subliminal, whatever it's called, subconscious reason that I somehow think that Tom's not as professional, okay, as you are. All right? So, you know, and then put that in your electronic signature. You know, just have your name. Maybe you have your banner. Who has one of my cards? Boy, that was really popular coming in. Okay. It says talent, selection, and training. That's my banner, and I would use that on my resume. All right. I may on my electronic signature, Tom Wood. Put your email address again, and I'll tell you why. Put your phone number, preferably your main contact, probably your cell phone. All right. You don't have to put your address. And it doesn't have to be in crazy font. And it doesn't have to be in a color. Because 99% of the people who make copies make it in black and white. All right? The lady that runs career services at UTA, her signature's in yellow. You know what happens if you print a yellow signature with a cheap $89 printer? It doesn't show up. Yes, ma'am.
On topic of email addresses and things like that, I've got on topic of email addresses. For my email address, like I'm through AOL, and every time I give someone my email address and I give them the AOL, they give me this look like, really? So do you think that's something too that
Yes.
you just gave away?
AOL means that you're old. On the internet, i.e. you're old. Or older. Excellent question.
I mean, I opened a Gmail, but AOL is still my primary, so would you suggest?
I would make AOL my family personal, and I'd open a Gmail. Okay. I noticed that yesterday. An engineer gave me his AOL address, and I thought, that guy may be as old as I am. I don't know exactly, but okay. Those are some of the little things. And is that going to stop you from getting a job? No. But my job is to keep you from stepping out of bounds, stepping on landmines, because I want you to not be kicked out for some of those subliminal things. Does anybody buy what I'm selling? Yeah. Okay. So they're simple, but they, I see them every day. And I guarantee you, Macho Mano, 8781 is not getting a job in my book. Okay. Just tells me too much about his personality. We're not going to have much time on resumes, because that's a 3-hour course in itself. And number one, there's a lot of information on that web page I gave you. And number two, there's a couple examples here. And at the very last page, the front page of the last page, front part of the last page, is a resume of a young man that I counseled last week to go to our church. And he's a recent graduate, and I think it's a nice format. All right. He's got, and because he's a graphic designer, he's going to do this black up here. I'm against that, but he's a graphic designer. He had it different colors, and so I let him win on black. But because all your printers don't print off black. All right. But he's got, he's got his address, he's got his website, and he's got his email address. And then he's got his education first. That's what you all have first. And then he's got some of the experience. How many of you here have had an internship? They're like gold. Okay? They're like gold for companies looking at them. How many of you here have had a part-time job or full-time job? Everybody has. And I don't care if it's waiting tables. I love people that work hard like that and pay their way through school. I want to see on your resume if you paid your way through school or got a scholarship and then you work extra. I want to see that. You think that's not a big deal? It's a big deal. Okay, I got two choices. I got, Susie Sweetness, who's, daddy grew up in Highland Park and he paid her way, okay, and she drives a Mercedes convertible. And then I got, Sally, get with it, that worked her way through school, got a partial scholarship, waited tables, and boy, I know what kind of grief that is. I'm telling you, those are the little intangibles that will separate you. All right? But this is a nice form. It's not perfect. A resume, it's gray. There's no such thing as perfect on a resume. Yes,
I noticed that on this resume you can trim things and have one of those like objectives or summary. So is that really important part of something?
Say again.
Doesn't need an objective on it.
It doesn't have a summary or any. No. Objective went out 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. Summary is what you put now, but what are you all going to put as a summary? Y'all are rookies. You're rooks. Okay. Don't try to sniffles. Okay. Don't tell me this wonderful summary of what you've done because you really haven't done a lot. Yes, ma'am.
What if you were an older person, like the lady you were talking to, that was your friend?
Then you want to put a summary. And those of you that want to disagree or want some more resume samples, after you look on our webpage, because I may quiz you or up your shooting email. I've seen you more attachments if you got resumes. I looked at so many resumes.
I was just going to ask you about that.
Okay. Cover letters. Okay. Let me take the Tom Wood versus the professional answer. Every HR, I'm going to give you two examples. Every HR executive that I talked to my right management, the last 13 I pulled aside and asked, what about cover letters? Very open-ended. Ever read them? 13 out of 13. Now, you all have more of a chance having yours read because you don't have 20 years of experience. Most of you. I know you only got 5. Okay, but but most people don't have. You're not going to have 20 years of experience. You're in there. Okay, you did, but you started when you were 12. Okay. All right. So cover letters for you all are going to be more important because that's part of the way you're going to have to sell yourself. And what I'm looking for in a cover letter from a recent college graduate is how well you communicate, how what you said, how well you said. Because all the cover letters I read are fluff, or they regurgitate the resume, or they regurgitate the job description that they saw online. All right. And it should never be longer than a half a page. All right. Here's the way I do cover letters. I read them after I get interested in somebody to do the resume. And I'll read it to see how well they wrote. And there might be something on there that does separate. So yes, have them. But be brief, brother, be brief.
Examples on your website.
I'm sorry?
You have some examples on your website.
On cover letter? You got two. One is from right management and it's too long. Okay? Half a page, no more. And you all can't, what can you tell me good about, okay, I'm not talking down to you. I'm just telling you the way it is. At 20, I'm gonna pick a number, 25, what can you all tell me that you've done? Now you can tell me some good things. Top of my class, got a scholarship, okay, runner up to this. Tell me some of that. But you don't have 25 years of experience. So don't try to snake oil the snake oil salesman. Okay, or the person making the decision on your resume. Now, unfortunately, that's all the time we've got on resume. But I thank you for the cover letter question.
Yeah, and I just want to say I wasn't, texting, I'm writing.
No, I wrote your name down.
But for me, I'm hitting 30 this year. I have some experience, but obviously not a wealth or experience. So it's just, I'm stuck. I just finished my MBA in December, and I have this fear of branching out into unknown. So, I mean, I'm stuck.
Okay. Well, the good news is you already recognize that it's not going to be easy. The better news is you got an MBA. That automatically separates you. Companies now can, because there's so many people looking for jobs, where they used to say college degree preferred, okay? Now they say college degree required, MBA preferred, because they can. And it will rotate back the other way. You're already at the top 10% with MBA.
I think it's just fear. I really fear. I don't know what else to say.
I wish I had that power to come up with it. Okay. But if you eat the elephant one bite at a time, take a step and pay attention to some of these things. And there's a ton of stuff if you Google. I'm not the only guy in the world. The challenge with teaching this kind of subject, all right, is that a lot of it's gray. Okay, you get three, let's call us job search gurus in a room, and you're going to get two opinions. And they may be close. At the end of the day, it's your resume, it's your career, it's your search. And if you get conflicting advice, use what most people don't, use logic. And don't go overboard on anything. Whether it's your email address or the color of paper, there's only two colors of paper on your resume, white and ecru, or eggshell, okay? And if your resume is that color, so is your cover letter. If those are your colors, then guess what color your business card's gonna be, okay? Nothing else is allowed, no exceptions. Not even if you're applying to Mary Kay, you do not put it on a pink resume. I know a lady that did that. She didn't get past, the first word. Networking. I'm not sure if we included all of it, but on the website, we have, well, first of all, we're going to take, even though we're short of time, I want to take 3 minutes, and you will win a prize. I want you to take the second page, see the contact grid. I talk about networking, and it's part of who you know, but it's also how many you know. Right? I want you in 3 minutes, without looking at your phone, okay? I want you to write down, it could be just the first name or it could be Sally at the AMP. In each one of those blocks, write down as many people as you can. You're not right. Are you writing? Do you have a photographic memory? Don't make it cutesy. This is for the number of people. This may not be 3 minutes, but we'll prove our point. Let's stop. Okay. How many of you have 5 minutes? How many of you have 10 minutes? How many of you have more than 10? Whew. All right, how many have more than 20? You're a fast writer. Okay. Anybody else have more than 20? Going, gone. Who had more than 15? Somebody over here did. Okay. This is all the information on a CD, so you don't have to. Okay. Who else over here? You did. This is all the information on that page that we talked about. All right. There you go. And thanks for the cover letter question. All right. These are all the things that are on that web page, and there's much more information. This is just things that I had from my 120 on our church website that I could kind of tweak to make it make sense for you all. The point of this exercise is to prove to you just how many contacts you do know, even at church. And you meet them everywhere. Church groups, sports associations. How many here play some kind of sports, even if it's just for laughs? And think about all your teammates. Think about all the parents of those teammates. Think about all the boyfriends, girlfriends, spouses, significant others of the teammates. See how it goes? It's kind of like LinkedIn. Good segue for LinkedIn, right? A lot of you had questions on LinkedIn, and so Dr. Cruz was kind enough to send out some questions, and we'll address those and see if that doesn't give you a big picture on LinkedIn. But look at the pink sheet. You notice I'm not afraid of pink. All right, I'll pull my pink shirt up here. I thought that might be overkill. Okay. What this says, if you go under on LinkedIn, how many of you here are on LinkedIn? How many of you here are fairly familiar with it? Okay, excellent. I know who my go-to person is. When you go on the contacts, it'll give you a drop-down bar. And the thing that I've written on here is network statistics. These are my network statistics. And I'm by no means, there's people with 5,000 connections. Once you get to 1,000, you got a bunch. I've got 925 as of 2 days ago, probably 940 now. This has been a week where I've kind of gotten on the line. But more importantly, look at my second level of connection. Those are people that I can contact and reach out to, usually, and I can research, and that's the key word, that's the takeaway that I want to make sure we end the message with. 230,000 people. Okay. So one of the questions was, why do I go on LinkedIn? How does it differ from Facebook, Twitter, etc.? I'm not a social media guy. You all go ahead and do that. And if you're going to go to work for one of the techie companies, then you need to be on Twitter and Facebook and all that. But my advice, I have never been on Facebook. I have never looked at anybody on Facebook. And the reason I don't do that is because if somebody says, Tom Wood's kind of a common name, if somebody says, hey, I saw this guy with a lampshade on their head, and his name was Tom Wood, that could be me, but and I can truthfully say it's not me. I've never opened up Facebook, and that's the reason I don't want to. There's too many negative things in the professional arena about Facebook. So you have to be careful. If you have a personal or family account on Facebook, it's you a separate business account. Just like we talked about email addresses. Yes, ma'am.
I've recently put my, say like obviously electronic resume or PDF, I put my LinkedIn account on my resume.
Absolutely.
So it's like a clickable link.
Yeah.
Like you. Is that a good
Absolutely.
thing?
And put it on your business card.
Okay.
Okay. LinkedIn is the professional networking page, what do I want to call it? Site. Okay. Facebook has some advantages to it, Twitter and some of the others, but LinkedIn is the professional site. Let me give you an example of how it works. Someone calls me, or I get an email, or whatever. I get a referral on somebody, and maybe they know we're looking for a particular search. We're retained, so we don't have 500 searches. That means we may have 15 or 20 at a time, and they're very targeted. But I get a name, my LinkedIn is up 24/7. I punch in their name on LinkedIn. If they're not on LinkedIn, that's one of those things that I think they're not professional, even if you're a college graduate. It's just one of those subliminal things. Remember I said the differentiators. So you got to have a LinkedIn page, period, no exception. Right? Don't care what field you're going into. Don't care what degree. Don't care if you don't care. Don't care if you disagree. That's a takeaway. You got to have a LinkedIn page. Why irritate potentially 20% of the hiring managers? and they've got 97, remember the numbers? So you need a LinkedIn page. If you're going to do it right. I put in the second set of handouts a LinkedIn page of a young lady, and frankly, most of this is good. I just typed in SMU, okay? And a bunch came up, and I picked one that was closer to being correct than incorrect. All right. A couple of things you want to do. One, have a picture. Two, do not have a glamour shot like this lady. I'm serious. Okay. Male or female. And just get a digital camera, headshot, and you all know how to do it where it doesn't makes you look better. Okay. They haven't figured out a way to make you look better. We're working on it. All right. But it ought to be just you, not you and your dog, you and your cat. Okay. It ought to be a nice picture. We have a lady in our class, in our church class, and she's kind of our scribe and really a neat lady. And she sent me her LinkedIn and said, Tom, what do you think about my LinkedIn? It was perfect except the picture did not do her justice. She's a very attractive lady. And it's this real interesting, literally, it's natural. Little gray, silver right here, and a red here. I mean, I think it's dynamite. And I called her up and said, Deborah, it's great. He said, get another picture. Your way, But get not a glamour shot, but if you don't have a picture, male or female, then A, you're lazy, or B, you're ugly. I'm telling you the way we think. Is there a way we can edit some of this? Okay. But she did a great job on summary. She did a great job on specialties. And part of the reason you want to fill out specialties, or that's the key words if we're looking for somebody. Okay. She has some experience. Now, some of it may be pro bono. You know what that means? It's like my lecture this afternoon. Nada. All right? Or my church Fridays. You do it because you love it and it's gratifying. So if you don't have some of this to put on there, go volunteer. Volunteer one day at the SPCA. Okay? Volunteer for the Habitat. Anything. Get some of those things on here. Because I want people that are well-rounded, that volunteer, that are involved in their community. Yes, ma'am?
I'm new to LinkedIn, and so is this what you see whenever you go on people's
Yes.
LinkedIn accounts?
Yeah.
On the connections, it looks like it's kind of bolded. Is that where you can click and see their connections? Or is that just,
Where it says connections, that's how many people she is connected to first, or her first-line connections.
Can you view connections?
Yes.
Yes.
So that's why every one of you here, your takeaway is to link in with me. But you want part of my 230,000? Easy. On your invitation, say, remember me, TWU? Okay? You put TWU in the invitation, I will link in with you. And you automatically got access to my 952 or 25. Derek, we're out of time.
But they don't want to start contacting your connections without talking to you.
Well, and that's a good question, good protocol. Okay? You use LinkedIn, and you're only going to use it more for research, number one. And number two, you're going to use it because it might be the differentiator. Yes, ma'am?
Right. So you just really need to
Louder.
You need to really be selective in who you connect with, because if you connect with someone who maybe just kind of seems a certain way or something, and you're looking for my connections, it may.
Is it all right if I disagree with you?
Yeah. I mean,
That's
I'm just
well.
wondering. It's not like Facebook.
You all want to connect with everybody you can, unless they're an axe murderer. Okay, just out of our country. You do. Okay? Very few people are smart enough to drill down the connections and see that you frequent a tattoo parlor. Okay? Seriously. So basically, you want to link in with everybody you can. But you really want to suck up the people like me that have a lot of connections. Be serious. Because it's not only the quality of your connections, but it's the number of connections. It's a pyramid scheme. My 925 lead to, how many again, children? 230,000. So if I want to research, and that's what recruiters and HR people do, we go in under people advanced, because I pay $20 a month to get a better search tool. We go under people advanced. I don't write in a person's name. I type in something like fashion. So when everybody here that's in that fashion program, somewhere on your LinkedIn, you're going to have fashion. If not, okay? Even if it's your degree, okay? You need the word fashion on your LinkedIn somewhere. And that's where you would put it under specialties. I type in fashion, capital letters, or sales. Okay? So that means it's going to scan all 230,000 of my contacts, and it will pop up if I don't put a zip code and other requirements in there. Everybody that has LinkedIn and has fashion and has or sales, I didn't say and, but let's say I do and. You capitalize that in your search criteria, A-N-D, sales. And so the person on their LinkedIn must have those two words. If I want them together, I don't know if there's such thing as fashion sales, but I put fashion sales in quotes. Now there's a ton of books, ton of articles. We've got a good one, okay, on the webpage about all of these specifics. The point is, quickly, I want you all to use summary, use specialties. Your specialties is keywords. Fashion design, okay, sales. Those are the keywords that show up when I do a search. When I say I'm talking about all the HR people. I read a statistic 2 weeks ago that 72% of the HR departments check people on LinkedIn before they do any others, and they check them on Facebook. Check them on LinkedIn for the good stuff. Check them on Facebook for the bad stuff. I'm serious. Yeah. Now, I'm sure that number goes down toward college graduates. This is not going to be a deal breaker, but it's a differentiator. And that's what we said we'd talk about. Okay? In the 6 minutes left at this 140-mile-an-hour lecture today, let me quickly answer the questions in orange. Sure. Tangerine? Okay. Nobody was at the church when I made these copies last night, and they left the color paper cabinet unlocked, so. My question is, what should be included in a LinkedIn profile in order to have a better chance? And we just covered that. Summary selections include some keywords. Cell number, oh, that's the other thing. Amazing. People are on LinkedIn saying seeking a job, and they leave off the two most important things. Their cell number and their email address. If you're looking for a job, make it easy for me to find you. Even if you're not looking for a job, if you're on LinkedIn, at least have your email address. Then when you go and fill out all the personal properties at the end, don't give me your birthday, don't give me your sign, don't give me any of that stuff. Okay, don't say single, married, none of that. Okay, email address, cell phone number. And if you're not comfortable with cell phone number, email address. Because aren't you on LinkedIn to link with people?
Well, and if you leave a cell phone number, just like your email address, don't have a voicemail message that when you leave a message, you sound like a crazy person.
No, seriously. All of you have your college voicemail, don't you? Okay? Get rid of it. Okay? This is the home of Pinky. Okay? How you doing? Let me give you the verse of the day. You know, and then there's whatever playing in the background. Thank you. Okay? You say, hi, you've reached Tom Wood. I'm sorry I can't take the message right now. Really would like to talk with you. Leave me a message and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Two things. Number one, don't say at the beep. Third world countries know at the beep. They do. Don't waste that. Right. Number two, I didn't say leave me a brief message. I have a friend that says, leave me a message of any length because I'd like to talk to you. And you've got a consulting business. Could that be the differentiator? Sure. Get rid of all that funny stuff. If you're married and you have a spouse and you're looking for a job and you're a female, your voice is going to be on the voicemail. Whoever's looking for the job is going to do the voicemail. Okay? That may create some friction. Yes, ma'am.
Can you just stick with a default voicemail, or you have to have it first?
No. Let me tell you why. Okay? And you may have to rehearse it 7 times. Remember, you can hit the button and redo it? Okay?
Yeah.
You may have to do it 7 times, but here's why. I've got 10 resumes. I'm an HR, person. I'm a low man on the totem pole, low lady on the totem pole, right? And I've got 10 resumes, but I need to set up 5 interviews. You know how I'm going to, and I'm not going to take the time to really go 1 through 10. I'm going to start calling. Right? The first 5 that I get through to, get the interview. One of the ways that you want them to know is if your name is Tom Wood and a female or a metallic voice answers, they don't know it's Tom Wood. If you've heard me talk, you would recognize my name, but you know I'm a male. 99% of the Toms would be male. All right? I mean, Now, you may come across a name that's Chris, it could be male or female, but that's why it needs to be in the voice, better your voice in the metallic voice. If you've got, you know, a squeaky voice where that really bothers you, leave a metallic voice, but try to come up with something that sounds professional, short, sweet. Don't use that for detail. Okay? Can you remember that? Write it down. Okay. What do you feel about adding your personal LinkedIn account info on your resume? And we answer that. Absolutely. Okay. You put it up there on your heading on your resume, and you put it on your business cards. Okay. The reason it's not on my business cards, I couldn't figure out how to do it on the computer. You know, I kept hitting adjust.
For the resumes, that's clickable. So on business card, yeah, you can see it, but resume is that.
Resume, don't worry about it getting a link.
No?
Okay. No, because a lot of companies have got filters and spam, all that kind of stuff. I know we do at our company, so you can send me a link, but I'm gonna have to cut it down. Okay. So don't worry about making it a link.
What would you say then? Like mine it says LinkedIn, but it's obviously clickable. So like, what would you say? Like
You said stickable?
clickable.
Printable. I thought you said
Clickable.
clickable.
It
Okay.
just says like my email address and it says LinkedIn where it's underlined so that it can be clicked. So like, what would you say? Like, it's not.
You would say anything, you just put it in there. I mean, 90% of the people, 95% of the people we send it to know what it is. It's a LinkedIn link. Okay. Even if it's not linkable, they just cut and paste and put it. Because you can't send me a link because of the filtering we have at our company. We have too many confidential files when people looking for jobs, so that's what we have to do. And a lot of HR departments will do the same way. Okay. But you're the one that brought that up. Good comments. Okay. What is the benefit of having a LinkedIn account, which is just going on the other sites? It's monster. As long as we have now. All right. I recommend you be on no more than 3 sites. On the job posting boards. Part of that's to keep you away from spending all your time on the computer. Remember the 50-50 rule? All right. Remember Karen? I posted 200 things. Okay. I would recommend Indeed.com. INDEED.com. Indeed takes off all of Yahoo High Jobs, all of Monsters, and all the career builders. They put them in one. Why not let Indeed do the work for you? Then you post your profile and the alert once a week or twice a week, and you get it for $1. Monster.com has gotten a lot of bad press recently. Career builders are a lot better. I'm not telling you to ignore Monster. I'm just telling you in the order of Tom Wood's suggestion today at 3:30. All right, and then I would suggest a site that you find in your research that may be toward the industry that you're interested in. Maybe an association. If you're a techie, dice.com is a great one. So all type of industries and functional areas have sites. So I would have 2 traditional, 1 functional associations. And you might slide it through, but don't spend more than 50, 60% of your time behind the computer. All people. LinkedIn with them. Network with them. The thing we don't have time today, if you'll have me back, we'll talk about networking and talk about networking meetings. But on that webpage, how to set up networking meetings and what to do and say. Last takeaway, because we're there. In a networking meeting, meaning you're trying to get some skinny about JCPenney. You know, Summer's trying to get some skinny about JCPenney, all right? And she's talking to the person, all right? You did what I love, because I'm a go for the throat person. But a better approach might have been, okay, hi, I'm Summer Smith. I'm going to be a recent graduate, TWU, honors graduate, top of my class, okay? And I'm very interested in going to work for retail companies like yours. Perhaps do you know the hiring manager's name and their direct phone number or email address? Okay. There's 2 things I didn't say in there. 1, would you hire me? And 2, okay, I would not say the nasty French word resume. Resume implies, would you hire me? And you can watch it. I go to these meetings all the time. I see it all the time. Somebody said resume, and people literally and figuratively do this. Oh my goodness. Tom's going to hit me up. I'm at the Homeowners Association talking to him. He mentions he wants to give me his resume. He wants me to hire him because he knows I own this manufacturer. Okay? You network for information, contacts, basically information, whether it's about an association, a company, other contacts they have, et cetera, et cetera. not to get a job. Now, if it leads to getting a job, hallelujah. And I'm not picking on you because my style would have been exactly yours. You don't have a job for me, do you? Okay. I'd rather you did that than not say a word. So you'll be congratulated for taking advantage of that situation. We did do it at 140 miles an hour, Dr. Cruz. There's a ton of this stuff. Obviously, I like it. Okay. I'm sorry we had to put 500 pounds in a 100-pound bag. Okay. Please link in with me. Unfortunately, I cannot be the personal counselor for everybody here as much as I would love to. But thank you for having me.